Everyone's asking you to put a diversity plan into action right now. That's with the assumption that your diversity plan will make things better. What if that plan will actually make things worse? Let's be real. You're being asked to do a lot right now. You're being asked to save your existing business, pivot online, keep all your essential employees, on top of handling all of this racial tension and these conversations that you may not be familiar with, and produce a profit in this declining market. I mean, being a leader right now is one of the most difficult positions on the planet. So we're here to help shine some light in the conversation, make it a little bit more approachable, a little easier, and to help you feel successful so you can lead at the high capacity. Because if we're being honest, you could have run away from this conversation. As silly as this graphic may seem, you could legitimately keep your head down and not deal with this. So thank you for going through the process of seeking solutions and saying you are staying focused. Thank you for making the time to look at what you can do, how you can help your employees, how you can help the communities that you serve. My name is Kemi Joseph, and I am co-founder of F.E.A.R.S Advantage. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for all the business leaders in the world, the social entrepreneurs, the business owners who really care like you, who are saying that we have to do something. And I understand that there's a lot of reasons we could be disengaged or stay out of the conversation. I've had an amazing career as a speaker, been able to speak for 15 years, work with elementary all the way up to the elderly, teaching on leadership, resilience, culture, climate, on business development. Even had a chance to work with Nobel Peace Prize winners to spread social justice in this world. So I feel very proud of myself and what I've been able to accomplish. And there's also moments of my career where I don't feel proud. I'm sitting in my car after 6 hours of training. It's in a hot parking lot. The car is steaming and I'm just have my head there, laying on the steering wheel, shoulders slumped, and I'm just thinking about how I dodged a bullet. Over the 6 hours I was training this organization, I could feel the tension in the air. I could see the discrimination, and they didn't bring me there to talk about discrimination. I was there about leadership, culture, and climate, but I know that's a conversation also about diversity. But I didn't take the extra step to say something. I didn't speak out. I felt in that car, felt so ashamed of myself for not wanting to be the mad minority or not wanting to make things worse for the people who had to stay there after I left. If I'm being really honest, I didn't want to lose that client. I didn't want to lose money by speaking up. So I just turn on my car and drive off. And the sadder part of that is I would have continued on that journey. If it wasn't for this year, seeing the murder of George Floyd really rocked me in so many ways. One, I just felt so guilty. Even as a black man, I hadn't been involved in this conversation, and I felt like I was contributing to his death, that my silence enabled that situation. My silence led to that violence. And that was the guilt that I still carry around, and I don't carry that guilt and shame in a way that is holding me back anymore. I carry it to say I'm going to use it as fuel to jump into this conversation because I've avoided it. Because I've never seen a conversation around racism, sexism, classism, any ism actually go well. So instead of having those kind of conversations, I want to have conversations that help bring people together. There's a lot of people who want to help, and I want to make sure they have a pathway to do so. So thank you for watching this and feeling my emotion. I know that you are one of those people who want to be in this conversation, and I want to make sure we can make this conversation more approachable so we can all expand together. And in that, I want to introduce you to our cultural expansion continuum. This is the process that every single organization on the planet goes through as they diversify their workforce. And it starts with diversity and inclusion 1.0, then D&I 2.0, D&I 3.0, and some companies make it to innovative inclusion, but very few ever make it to cultural evolution. So let's go ahead and break this down. With diversity and inclusion 1.0, This is where we're just complying, making sure that we can avoid a lawsuit. But this is actually where more lawsuits are created because we're not providing adequate trainings. We're just checking the box with the training. And what's the point of a training if an employee can just fast forward through it? We end up creating an environment where we're scrambling right now to hire folks that represent diversity, minority groups, minority individuals. We bring them in to our organization. They feel completely out of place because our organization wasn't built with them in mind. So they end up leaving. We see retention rates are incredibly low. The turnover is high because why would I stay if I don't feel like I belong? So diversity and inclusion 1.0 is not enough. People who are at diversity and inclusion 2.0, they're doing a little better with their retention, doing a little better with their recruitment, but they're not doing nearly as enough with their discrimination and harassment efforts, because you might have a more diverse workforce, but you may unintentionally be putting them in harm's way. And this discrimination, this harassment is more subtle, and our response to it is more subtle, sitting in the back of the meetings, wondering if we should be here or if we're only here because we're a minority. And that tension that builds, you may not see it, but it's happening in your organization right now. And people rather hide it and just get through the workday versus make it worse. So diversity and inclusion 2.0 is not enough. People want to move to 3.0. And in 3.0, we have to discuss what is called equity, diversity, equity, and inclusion. A lot of people don't even talk about equity in the conversation, and we are creating a huge power struggle. So let's talk about DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. When we are starting to bring more diverse people into our organizations, there is an underlying current that people think, oh, these folks are coming to take our jobs. This is going to be a worse organization. Where's my place? So then majority groups feel lost in the conversation as well. This is why the tensions are higher. Discrimination, harassment are higher because people have not been shown how our cultural expansion is actually there to help them grow as well. So we as leaders have to be intentional about how we have these conversations and how we share resources in our organization. As we do that, we can get to a place of innovative inclusion. This is where we start to see diversity as a superpower. Where actually, if you look at Harvard Business Review, they're putting out statistics that says businesses with a higher level of diversity actually get a higher level of innovative revenue. That's amazing. This is a place that we're going to as business owners, trying to sustain our businesses. However, if we do this poorly, we have a place where people are being included and we have a majority group still. And when a majority group decides to include minority groups, at any point they can decide that that minority group can be excluded. So there's still a level of unsafety. There's still a level of not really belonging. So we have to go beyond innovative inclusion as well. We have to go to cultural evolution. And I haven't heard many people talking about this, so I want to bring this to your front door right here. Cultural evolution says we work with everybody who's currently a part of our team and make sure we involve all the voices, make sure everyone feels valued and heard, and create something new together. And as we create something new together, I'd love for you to ask yourself this question: what's your vision of celebrating diversity in your business? What I love about this question, it moves us away from shame and blame. It moves us away from anti-racism. It moves us away from anti-harassment, anti-discrimination, because those all keep us focused on what we don't want versus focusing our attention on what we do want. So what does celebrating diversity look like in your organization, in your business? Maybe it looks like this, where people enjoy coming back to work and there's a party and there's confetti, right? That might be a far stretch, but maybe it's more subtle. We can have a meeting that actually goes well, where people appreciate your efforts to grow and people appreciate that you're creating a plan that they're involved in. They can see themselves involved in the plan. So let me help you map out your cultural expansion plan. In this process, you have to have 5 essential elements. 1, assessment. Let's focus in on what you are doing well, but some assessments just make you feel terrible. No. Let's focus on what you're doing well so we can build upon that as well and improve upon your weaknesses. And then with that assessment, we can start to put together custom trainings for your organization. Make sure everybody gets on the same page. When you're bringing in trainings, make sure that they're up to date and they're in a digital space right now, because Zoom fatigue is real. And the trainings that we bring must bring people together. Again, move beyond shame and blame so we can truly make a change. And this is the missing piece that a lot of organizations miss, which is B and D alignment, business and diversity alignment. That way, you're not just talking about diversity in a training and then going back to business as usual. You're actually bringing them together to make sure that diversity, equity, inclusion are tied into your revenue generating practices. This is what will actually sustain you and allow you to thrive as a whole organization. And we know that your employee competencies, your employee capacity to perform is tied to your executive team's ability to lead them. So we have to include executive group coaching for your leadership team. Make sure they can actually navigate these conversations. Make sure they can check their own bias and look at how freeing their minds, opening up what else is possible, expanding their awareness, how that can help your employees as well. And then the one-on-one coaching for you and anybody else at the senior level to make sure that, again, you are checking your biases, you're expanding your awareness, especially in a time where we're walking on eggshells and as leaders feel like we have a target on our back. Have a confidant, have a confidential space where you can explore what you need to in order to truly show up powerfully and lead from a place of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the number one question people ask me after I show them all this is, Kemi, can you help us with our cultural expansion plan? Absolutely. Whether you're a business who doesn't really know what diversity will look like, so you don't have a plan, or a business that has a plan and you're not sure if it's actually helping, or you have a plan that you know is working but you want it to work better, we help businesses like you every single day. I'd love for you to start with our free cultural expansion assessment. It's right below this video. This will take you less than 10 minutes to complete, and just the beginning of the conversation to make sure that you can get a snapshot of where your organization is so you can understand the most important steps to take moving forward. So I want to say thank you for watching this video and expanding what you now see is possible as you go towards cultural evolution in your organization. And I told you about what my career looked like before this tragedy we experienced as a nation, and after seeing and experiencing that, I had to do things differently. I could no longer just allow myself to have conversations like this when it was convenient. I had to make it the forefront of my focus. Doing this assessment helped me see what I could do in my organization to make sure that we are aligned, that our values, our principles, our practices, and our profits are focused on making sure these kind of things never happen again, and bringing it in a way that actually helps people come together. And so I'm no longer worried about being a mad minority. I use that frustration and anger to actually be part of the solution in positive ways. I'm not worried about making it worse for other people, because I always check in with folks and make sure we're constantly up to date and we are really serving the people we are seeking to help. And I'm not worried about losing clients or profits anymore. First of all, I don't work with checkbox organizations. I mean, they're not trying to help right now. I only want to work with folks like you who are trying to help. And I've seen an increase of not only powerful clients who are showing up and making a declaration, but we're also seeing an increase of revenues as we stand for something and we take action. We are so aligned, just like you seek to be, that we actually see our business doing much better because we are seeking to do much better in the world. So thank you for listening. Thank you for going on this journey with us. And you start below with our free cultural expansion assessment. I look forward to seeing you after the assessment.